It's a new week. Good morning and welcome to Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African News Network. My name is Merciful Ajinomo. Joining us to analyze some stories this morning is Adebayo Fajimi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Happy New Week.
I wish you the same.
Good. Let's begin from the Nigerian News Direct paper this morning. The banner headline there says 2023 consultation eliminates bandits, terrorist. Tinubu tells Buhari. We have three riders there. The first extends consultation to Northwest, says Nigeria would surmount challenges, assures of victory in presidential election. That can be found on page 3 of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper. What do you make of this charge by a presidential aspirant towards Buhari, talking about the security situation of the country?
Yeah, it's good and it's nice. Though at the same time, it's not new because it is what many Nigerians
Have been saying.
have been saying, yearning for. So it's not new. So I think whatever it is just a game ahead of 2023. So
It's always a game, right?
That's it.
Okay. We still see on the paper right there, we see a picture of the day there with, people, leaders that have led Nigeria in different categories. From the very top there, we see a story there on page 11, how NDIC is saving bank customers from fraudulent big payout. That can be found on page 31 of the Nigerian News Direct. And then on page 16, cyber attack, NCC warns over new ransomware by cybercrime group. Then on page 2, Governor Abiodun says, we'll work towards improved internal generated revenue in 2022. That can be found on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct paper. On Business Day, the banner headline there is Buhari Legacy Series, Nigeria's president since 1999 have mixed legacies. We can get our story on page 30 of the Business Day newspaper. Then we see beside the picture of Zadia, non-oil income outpaces oil first time since 1973. And then our new tax to boost market for Zobo, Kunu, others. That can be found on page 31. Nigeria takes 8 years to add 800 megawatts despite investment. We can also see that on page 31 of the Business Day newspaper. On the Daily Trust, the banner line there is leakages continue despite TSA implementation. Three riders, how agency head civil servant bypass system. The second, federal government set up review committee. And then the third, why government should strengthen the Treasury single account. What do you make of this story, talking about leakages despite the TSA implementation?
Yeah, it is what government said. They are working on that. In fact, that they say they're going to, especially in this dispensation. But it is just quite unfortunate that we always run a system, that have loopholes, that is very weak, that is not strong enough. And no matter how, our government, making move to say, okay, they want to cop, eventually you still discover that what they say they want to cop or what they say they have copped, still persist. So it is still the question of leadership and how sincere we are to ensure that, we approach our problem with all sincerity. So, but unfortunately, you see this problem, coming up again. So it is the problem of insincerity in the place of leadership.
Okay. And still on the Daily Trust newspaper, I will see besides the picture of the graphics, will I say ad of the day. On page 4, Buhari orders massive military operation in Niger. And then we see talking about insecurity. We've spent 100 million naira on ransom. Vigilante Zamfara community cries out. I can find on page 6. And then man says high cost of raw materials, top challenges facing manufacturers. Of course, that's coming from the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. And shortage of lecturers hit polytechnics. That can be found on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We move over to the Daily Independent newspaper. Oshun Guba 2022. Why Aregbesola Oyetola's reconciliation failed. We have two riders. The first, Aregbesola demanded return to single uniform. That's coming from Oyetola's faction. And the second, Oyetola's faction wicked, untruthful. That's coming from Badirinwa. All of that can be found on page 6. Then with PIA, NNPC will earn more revenue for Nigeria. That's coming from Kiari. And we can get out on page 20 of the Daily Independent newspaper. In the banner headline there, we see CBN may tighten monetary policy to halt reserves depletion. And then analysts say it will strengthen Naira, attract foreign investment. that can be found on page 4. Besides that, of course, the story is replicated again on this paper. Buhari orders a major military operation to wipe out bandits. And then residents flee as bandits invade Kaduna village. Gunmen abduct 15 persons in Niger community. That can be found on page 6. I'm talking about the 2.4 billion naira judgment debt. Supreme Court restores GT Bank's appeal against Innocent Motors. That can be found on page 7. And then stakeholders query 35 top appointments in aviation agencies ministry. Say the smack of injustice may unsettle sector. And we see a story there on NDLEA intercepting 1.5 million tramadol tablets going to KB, Kano State. That can be found on page 29. Recently, we have seen like a news being different news stories on social media on NDLEA people working hard to get people who are dealing with drugs that have been drugs that are not supposed to be used. What do you take of this sudden that there's like people are just using drugs over and over again, and just recently it has increased? What do you make of it?
In fact, it will shock you that most of our leaders even indulge in this act. Even there was a time there was an information that leaked out about some governors in this Nigeria. I mean, most of them are past now, are past governors, former governors who indulge in this act. So, and when a governor, a leader who is supposed to be a role model of excellence to the younger ones, is indulging in such an act. So, what example or what message do you want to pass to the younger generation? So, abuse of drug or drug addiction, is a menace in our society, and it needs a proactive step, to curb this menace. And you can see the agency is really, really working. But the agency alone cannot curb this problem. So all stakeholders like parents, guardians, and everybody who is in this sector should need to come up and ensure that we help our younger ones, especially in giving them maximum orientation about the disadvantage and the havoc this thing can wreak on their futures. I think that's the way forward. But most importantly, all our leaders must rise up and kick against the use of this what's it called? Drugs.
Okay, still on the Daily Independent newspaper, we see Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, ousted Mali president, dies at 76. That can be found on page 2 of that newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, the banner headline there is States kick ass, NNPC continues deductions, FAAC meets Wednesday. 2 riders, a commissioner, of course, we have 4 riders, deductions not justifiable, says Delta. It's injustice against equity, commissioner says. States, federal government may clash. Subsidy not under our control, says NNPC. Of course, that's talking about fuel subsidy crisis. From the very top there, we see insurance firms' assets hit 2.09 trillion naira amidst recapitalization suspension. That can be found on page 19. On page, of course, still on page 19, Nigeria's debt stock hits 39.6 trillion naira in 11 months. And that's talking about report on that story. On page 18, electoral bill takes front burner as National Assembly resumes Tuesday. And then on page 18, still Nnamdi Kanu, Southeast governors, Igbo leaders to meet Buhari, insist on political solution. Of course, that can be found on page 18. Underneath the picture of the day there, we see Senator demands probe into death of Ogun fire farmers, headers. That can be found on page 8. Fares soar, tension rises as Anambra fumes over Tuesday's IPOP sit at home. That can be found on page 18. And we have other stories right there on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Just make sure you grab yourself a copy of this newspaper and other newspapers we read out this morning, so you can make sure that you are abreast of happenings in Nigeria and of course across Africa. And also our website is right there on the screen for you to follow and stay updated on happenings. That is www.tostvnetwork.com. Our social media platforms are right there on your screen for you to follow and stay engaged with our platform. My name is Merciful Ajinmo. Thank you so much for joining us on Nigeria. I will see you tomorrow.